What's up, guys? Theo here. UFC 295 main event prediction. We got Jiri Prochazka going up against Alex Pereira. So this is going to be at light heavyweight. Jiri coming back after a long layoff from the injury that he got to his shoulder in training. And Alex Pereira, this is going to be his second fight at light heavyweight after beating Jan Blachowicz in a pretty sketchy decision, in my opinion. I went back and I watched all the tape available on these two guys, and to be honest, my initial reaction was I thought Alex Pereira would probably win. But after doing a lot of tape study, I have really started to lean towards Jiri here. I think Jiri is way more creative, and he just seems to find his way to victory against opponents in a more stylish fashion than someone like Alex Pereira does. You know, if you look at their resumes, Jiri's experience outweighs Alex's in professional fights. I mean, 2 or 3 to 1. Jiri's been doing this for a very long time, man. And, initially, you can go back into my Bet MMA tips and look down at some of the first bets that I made, and I have a track record of failing to fade against Jiri. So I tried to fade him against Dominic Reyes because I thought that his experience in Asia would not stack up against UFC level competition. This was after Dominic Reyes had almost beat John Jones. In some people's opinion, he did beat him. And, Jiri ended up brutally knocking out Dominic Reyes in that spot, even though it would eventually come out that Dominic had knocked him out earlier in the fight and he had just woken back up. And ended up knocking Dom out, coming back, knocking him out with a spinning elbow. I mean, it was devastating. I couldn't believe it. That's a theme that we will see recurring again and again if you go back and you watch Jiri's tape. You see him get knocked out, put in deep submissions, put in trouble. I mean, he just has the kitchen sink thrown against him. You go to the Glover Teixeira fight. I know that's a very talked about fight, a very popular fight. I wasn't the biggest fan of it when I saw it, to be honest, personally, because they gassed in round 3. And, I just thought it was sloppy. I just thought both of them looked very sloppy in there, and I didn't think it was impressive the way Jiri won. I thought he got very lucky again. Then you watch the Volkanovski fight, which happened before, obviously, the Dominic Reyes fight. And Volkan cracks him several times, and he just doesn't stop. He just never stops with the lateral movement. In all of his fights, he never stops moving. I mean, I keep trying to fade the guy. I bet on Glover against him, and he beat Glover. And I mean, it's just like, people have thrown the kitchen sink at him. Every single fighter has gotten him in trouble, in submissions, cracked him, gotten him in trouble on the feet. Dominic Reyes knocked him out in the fight, and he woke back up like Tyson Fury. I mean, this guy fights like he's possessed, I really personally am not the biggest fan of Jiri's character that he plays, where he plays like a samurai. It's not my favorite thing to see, but he keeps finding ways to victory in special fashion in the octagon. And I mean, I don't think he has the best technique, man, but he seems to have figured out some kind of style that really works here. And after going back and watching Alex Pereira's fight against Jan Blachowicz, I cannot bet on Alex here, man. I cannot expect him to get a win because he did absolutely nothing in that fight. Go back and watch that fight. It really surprised me how little he actually did. After watching it, I think that it was a blatant robbery. I think Jan won that fight by a mile based on ground control and wrestling. Alex just did not have him really in trouble at any point in that fight that I perceived. I mean, he hit him with a couple calf kicks that didn't seem to slow Jan down. So I think that was a massive robbery, and I don't think Alex is the same. I don't think he's the same at light heavyweight. I just don't think we haven't seen him against enough opposition outside of Israel Adesanya to really know what he looks like against these big guys, and he's never fought anybody that moves. I mean, even Israel does not have the lateral movement that someone like Jiri has. Jiri is dancing all around, moving his head. It's very unconventional, man. But the thing about it is every time he gets touched, and he does get touched, it doesn't seem to do anything. His chin is incredible. I mean, you can knock the guy out, you can get him in a choke, and he's just going to get back up. So At some point, you got to stop trying to fade him. I've tried to fade him several times. He is the dog here. Plus 111 is what he's lined at on Bovada. They have Alex Pereira as a minus 134 favorite, so it's lined very close. But I think there's going to be a narrative around the injury that Jiri's had and the fact that, Alex came in on a couple fights and knocked out a guy he'd knocked out twice before in a kickboxing match, guys. I mean, come on. So I'm feeling good about Jiri, and I already put 1 unit on him here, and I'm probably going to load up on more. But we'll just have to see. We'll have to see how the weigh-ins go. I want to see how they look next to each other. I think Alex is going to have a bit of a physical advantage on him, but I just don't think it's going to matter. I think Jiri's movement is going to be too much. I think he's too creative in there. And I'm not 100% sure Alex is going to be able to knock him out, man. We will see, but I'm going with Jiri here. 1 unit on him already in the Bet MMA tips. More videos coming up for UFC 295, guys. Keep it locked in.